In the personal story segment tonight, shocking new developments in the Trayvon Martin case today. The attorneys for George Zimmerman abruptly quit, saying they lost contact with him and they haven't heard from him since Sunday. They also said that against their advice, Zimmerman tried to contact the special prosecutor. That's a no-no. We'll have more on this in our Is It Legal segment. But first, before that announcement was made, we spoke to Benjamin Crump, the lead attorney for the Martin family. First, it's great to see you, and your reaction when you first heard about the special prosecutor's decision.
Well, Laura, we were kind of anticipating it, and we think that it's a positive thing that she did not convene the grand jury, because we've always maintained there was enough evidence there just simply to arrest George Zimmerman, not to convict him, but just simply to arrest him. He'll have his day in court and be able to make all his legal arguments. So by not sending it to the grand jury and by not passing the buck, we think the special prosecutor, Ms. Angela Corey, is saying that she's going to make this decision, whether she has enough evidence or not to arrest George Zimmerman. And we believe that there's a plethora of evidence to affect probable cause to arrest him.
And Mr. Crump, have you been in touch with Trayvon's girlfriend, who was on the phone at the time with him, and had a chance to debrief her?
Well, we talked to her initially when we first got the phone records and saw that they had talked continuously that day, and in fact, she called him at 7:12. That phone call lasted for 4 minutes, which ended at 7:16. The police arrived at 7:17, and Trayvon Martin was shot and killed on the ground. And we knew that George Zimmerman had called the police at 7:11, so we knew that that connected the dots. So I talked to her at that time, and I know she's been interviewed now by the investigators from everybody. So I think they have all her testimony.
And Mr. Crump, you reacted to Mr. Zimmerman's setting up this website in another interview, I guess it was yesterday, and you said that it's unfair that Zimmerman is still free to express his views and solicit money. What did you mean by that?
Well, it's America, Laura, so he has a right to do whatever he wants, and Ms. Fulton and Mr. Martin have said that, and I was very proud they said that, because we are a country that you're innocent until proven guilty. He said that he had a life-altering experience. It was a little painful for them, because their son experienced a life-ending experience, and it's one of those things. If that's your child and he's unarmed, walking home from the store, as they believe in all the evidence, the objective evidence they believe that he was doing, and that he's shot by a neighborhood watch man with a 9mm, and he's not even arrested, it just seems extremely unfair. So they're dealing with it the best they can, and I want to say, Lord, please tell Bill, when I was on last time, he said that they, of course, are going to arrest him. Well, it's 43 days now, and we're still waiting. We have faith in the system, but there's no arrest yet.
And Mr. Crump, we only have a short period of time, and a lot has happened in the aftermath of this shooting, undoubtedly. There's been an incident where another network ended up editing, they say inadvertently, the 911 tape that shows that the dispatcher asked what Trayvon Martin looked like and said Hispanic, black, and that is when Mr. Zimmerman answered the question. In fact, he did not. That was not something he volunteered. It was something he was asked, and he answered the question. Given what you've heard about his own background, his own life story, do you think that this man is a racist?
I don't know if he's a racist or not, but I do believe he racially profiled Trayvon Martin that night. For him saying he was suspicious, and for him getting out that car, it just doesn't add up. But you also have to look at all the other calls he made. He made 46 calls to 911, and over 75% of those calls were about young African Americans. And then there was a Hispanic gentleman who actually reported him to the Homeowners Association and the police, saying that he profiled him, and he was a resident in Twin Lakes. So all those facts will come out, and then we hopefully have a judge and a jury, and that's all his family has asked for. Simple justice, nothing more, nothing less. He'll have his day in court, and they'll have their day in court.
Do you think he can have a fair trial, Mr. Crump? I know you've advocated on behalf of many victims of civil rights violations over the years. Given this atmosphere, we had a cop car shot up today. We had the police headquarters shut down because of protesters converging on police headquarters, some wearing hoodies. Another man was shot in Gainesville over the weekend. Reports investigating that the men who surrounded him, he happened to be white, were reportedly black. They shouted Trayvon. This man is permanently disfigured on the left side of his face. This kind of stuff is happening, and how does this man get a fair trial?
Well, those incidents are truly unfortunate, and Sabrina and Tracy, his parents, have over and over again said, follow our example. They've tried to be very peaceful and say, you can protest, but we only want it peaceful. They denounce any activity by the Black Panthers or any of these other extremist groups because they said they believe in the system, they have faith in the system. Can he get a fair trial? Absolutely. We have incidents all the time where people have controversial matters and get a fair trial. It's one of those situations he would get as fair of a trial as Trayvon Martin would have gotten if he pulled the trigger, because that's what it was about, having it be an equal justice applied to everybody. And Trayvon Martin, when you really think about the outrage and stuff, can you imagine if it was reverse, Laura, and Trayvon had pulled the trigger and they hadn't arrested him in 43 days?
Yeah, it's we'll learn more about this, that's for sure. Mr. Crump, thank you. And when we come back, more on the wild developments in the Trayvon Martin case. Legal is next.
The O'Reilly Family, the #1 cable news show for 12 years running.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Laura Ingram in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the Is It Legal segment tonight, the stunning new developments in the Trayvon Martin case. As we mentioned before, the attorneys for George Zimmerman have abruptly quit.
We want to announce today, as of now, we are withdrawing as counsel for Mr. Zimmerman. We've lost contact with him. Up to this point, we've had contact every day. He's gone on his own. I'm not sure what he's doing or who he's talking to, but at this point, we're withdrawing as counsel. If he wants us to come back as counsel, he will contact us.
They also say that Zimmerman tried to contact the special prosecutor in the case, and that said that helped Zimmerman's father set up a PayPal account to help raise defense funds. With me now is attorney Keith Waters, and joining us from New York is attorney and co-anchor of The Five, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Kimberly, let's start with you and put your legal eagle hat on here and tell me whether you thought it was odd that the Zimmerman attorneys had never met with Zimmerman, right? They only had talked with him over the telephone or something. I just thought that was odd.
It is odd because usually you want to get into a face-to-face, interaction with your client and do an assessment of them, of the case, etc. But keep in mind, when there's a bounty out for Mr. Zimmerman's head, wanted dead or alive, I bet you he doesn't want to be out in public or traveling from different places because it's highly risky for him. So in this sense, it kind of makes a little bit of sense that he would want to kind of stay under the low and kind of really take a chance. It's not a good idea, especially with his life on the line.
Yeah, well, maybe if he wants to be hidden forever, he can just go to Pakistan, where Osama bin Laden was able to hide. I mean, he's a persona non grata in the larger popular culture now, and he doesn't emerge even to talk to his attorneys. And then he tries to contact the special prosecutor.
This is highly unusual. What we have here is Mr. Zimmerman, again, not following the instructions, what he was told to do, not to follow the victim that he killed. Now, again, he's not cooperating with his lawyers, going to the special prosecutor. You see a pattern of behavior with this individual,
the Daily
not
Caller
being able to control himself.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the Daily Caller actually had a piece out about the following and the tracking of Mr. Martin. And I think this is going to be part of the ongoing investigation. The special prosecutor's doing it, is examining that tape to see if indeed he did go back and, quote, track Trayvon Martin after he was told, don't do that. There's some question about whether, in fact, he did go and start to track him after he was told, we don't need you to do that. That's an open question, I think, and I think a lot of people in the media have said it's already established. It's not established that he had tracked him. But what is established is that now he's operating without counsel, and he could very well be charged by this special prosecutor in a matter of days. Some people said today it was going to happen.
My point is foolish conduct. It's foolish not to listen to your lawyer. The lawyer's job is to protect him and to make sure his rights are preserved.
And meanwhile, Kimberly, we had these incidents today. A cop car near the Zimmerman's home, not clear how near, but near the Zimmerman's home, was shot up. Window shattered, damage to the vehicle. Police headquarters had to shut down at one point because a number of people, defenders of Trayvon, came to the police headquarters. Some of them wearing hoodies. I'm not sure why they shut down the police department for that, but that also happened. It seems like there's still racial tensions, or tensions are running high, and people have got to take a breath here.
Well, that's a problem because look, at only more violence and perhaps even loss of life is going to come from this. But this is what you have and what you're dealing with when you have the new Black Panthers out there saying, in fact, we want this man dead or alive. It's inciting violence, and they should be investigated, in fact, by the Department of Justice. And there's a number of charges, solicitation for a crime of violence, amongst other things, that could be filed here. But it's falling on deaf ears with the Department of Justice and Eric Holder. No
And Keith,
surprise.
what about that? What about that? The parents of George Zimmerman saying, "Look, what about us? You know, our lives have been threatened. We're basically can't move. They can't leave their home."
Well, if they need protection, the police should definitely protect them. But the primary responsibility for enforcement is on the state and local officials. It's not necessarily Eric Holder's
Jesse
position.
Jackson's saying the Fed should come in on this whole Trayvon
That's
issue.
the problem. Too many people are saying too many things about this case.
Kimberly and Keith, great to see both of you. And in a moment, John